My dad, Joe Kinkella, was a test pilot in the 1950s and 60s. He never crashed a plane, but he did have a close call with an F100 out at LAX Flight Line. You're going to want to hear this. Like, subscribe, and enjoy.
On our first F100s, we did not have anti-skid. And without a drag chute on a 8,000-foot runway, you'd have to have a pretty educated tow to get it stopped if your drag chute failed without blowing tires. So they developed an anti-skid system where after touchdown you could let the nose gear down and then clamp the brakes down, and it really was a pretty good system, except that I pointed out to the engineers that it wasn't quite as advertised, that you had to let the airplane slow down to 120 or 25 knots on the runway. You could touch down as low as about 155 without dragging your tailpipe. So most of the landings were around 158, 160 knots. But you had to wait to 125 knots or so before you could come in with full brakes, because that let the weight of the airplane get on the main gear, and they wouldn't skid. They weren't sensitive enough.
So that would take up more
runway. So I point, well, and you'd blow tires. People would clamp their brakes on. So I pointed that out to the engineer. No, you're just not doing it right.
Were these engineers pilot?
No. I said, no, you tell me how to do it. I said, I can blow tires anytime I want with this new system. Okay, I'll show you. Before we flew, he said, now, let the nose gear down, and when you're on solid, come in with your full braking. I said, no, you're going to blow tires. Oh, no, you can't. And I said, all right, you set your airplane up exactly the way you want, tweak the brakes, everything perfect. I'll go fly it, and then you tell me on the radio when to come in with my full brakes. See, they were alongside the runway. So I touched down, normal touchdown, and it's the LAX on the left runway, and I let the nose gear down. One of the guys says, now, and I come in with full brakes, and it went bang, bang. I could feel them go. And the tower, in the meantime, smoke, smoke. See, that was to tell you that you were going to blow a tire. Well, I knew that it was going to blow. What I didn't know is that one of the tires blew and started coming apart. One side ripped a hydraulic line off. Oh. And I lost all my hydraulics. I lost the pressure, and I had no nose wheel steering.
Oh.
Now, on the runway there, you're landing here, and about halfway down, you've got the tunnel, Sepulveda Tunnel. It goes under the airport. Yeah. Okay, which is no problem, except that I had no nose wheel steering. Air Research sits over here like that, and I'm veering off to this parking lot. I had no brakes, and it was clumping on these tires, sliding, burning, and whatnot. No steering, and I'm making a lot of, you could feel they were blown. And tower says, okay, your gear's on fire now. I said, yeah. And fire trucks were racing out there. And I thought, oh God, the only real sweat I had was it going to stop before I got to the tunnel? Yeah. Because I was off the runway and went through the parking lot at Air Research, which was just slightly left of the bridge over the Sepulveda. And if I'd kept going, I would have ended up down in by the tunnel. Well, it got stopped in the parking lot there.
How?
It just friction on blown tires. It worked out. The engineers didn't even come down to talk to me. I made a point, and they were very quiet.
Thank you for staying to the end. Tell me, though, would you have said anything to the engineers? This is the test pilot's daughter saying until next time, over and out.